Welcome to the International Christian Women's Council for May 2022. I do not own the rights to this music. First Lady Evangelist Tarita Brown. The topic today is the saving of a life and physical restoration. Greetings. I give honor to Mother Barbara McCoo Lewis, Mother Darlene Stone, and Evangelist Gail Gardner. Thank you for this opportunity to share my awesome testimony. I am Lady Tarita A. Brown, your International Sewing Circle Artistic Fingers President, along with being the First Lady of Refreshing Springs Kojic in Kokomo, Indiana. I have enjoyed my amazing husband, Third Administrative Assistant, Superintendent A. Wendell Brown Jr., for the past 41 years. I have 3 sons, 3 daughters in love, and 6 grandchildren. This is the story from today's lesson. On October 23rd, 2018, I woke up in a happy mood. The sun was shining. I felt great, and I was singing the praises of God. I put on one of my favorite outfits, talked to my husband, who was at work, and told him of my plans for the day. His last words to me were, "Honey, be safe. I love you." My plans for the day were to return an item at Bed Bath & Beyond and then go to our church to help prepare food with my team to feed our community. Around noon, I drove out of my neighborhood, heading east onto State Road 26, a 2-lane highway. I had driven about a mile when I saw a semi-truck that had stopped in front of me to turn left. I graciously slowed down and stopped a safe distance behind him, as I was in no rush. As I sat there, for some reason my car began to move. I didn't understand what was going on. I truly believe that at the time of the initial hit, God put me in a safe place to protect my brain from substantial injury. I remember being jostled around inside the car, yelling but not fully understanding what I was experiencing. I still remember that final jerking of the car as it rested next to the semi-truck. I looked up and saw my right leg. It was now lying horizontally across the steering wheel, with my heel in the steering wheel hole and my toes pointing back at me. I touched my ankle and couldn't feel anything. In my mind, if my leg didn't hurt, then it must be okay. I never even comprehended that my leg was broken. Let me tell you how God works. Immediately, I saw what seemed like a man with flowing hair running toward me. He rolled down the broken back window, asked me if I was okay, and put his hand on my left shoulder. I remember grabbing his hand and asking him to pray for me. At this time, I could barely inhale or catch my breath. He immediately began to pray, and I felt comforted. I call him my angel. He left to go see about his toddler daughter in his car. At that time, God allowed my phone to ring through my car's Bluetooth. I hit the answer button and my daughter, Latinia, said, "Hey Ma, what you doing?" I said, "Oh Latinia, I've been in a horrible wreck. Please call Dad." Of course she did. My angel returned to check on me. Again, I asked him to pray. Now, my angel story is that the day before my accident, he went to his fight club practice. After practice, his coach challenged the entire group to find a person they don't know and pray for them. My angel walked away from practice thinking, I know I'm going to fail this challenge because I'm not going to stop anyone I don't know and ask them to let me pray for them. Well, God provided an amazing miracle for both of us. My angel needed me to complete the challenge he thought he could never do, and I needed him to provide the comforts of prayer to keep me calm until I could get out, in my husband's words. Who wouldn't serve a God like this? My son Kyle and his family were the first to reach me. I remember hearing his voice. Although I knew it was him, I didn't even know to respond. He kept telling me to hold on because the firefighters and EMTs were going to get me out of my car, which was now facing west. However, I later learned that an EMT told my husband that if I had been driving anything else but this car, a Lexus LS460-L, I probably would not have made it. I was supposed to be driving my husband's smaller car that day because he was taking my car to get the oil change. Praise God, he forgot about the appointment. I was also told that a first responder who was on the phone with his wife when he arrived at the scene had told his wife, I got to go. This one looks like a fatality. Well, my sisters, don't let anyone tell you your situation is a fatality. It may look like it. It may smell like it. It may even feel like it. But when you serve a great, big, life-giving, amazing God like I do, it's not over until God says it's over. They had to use the jaws of life along with other equipment to get me out. When I was being pulled from the wreckage, the pain was almost unbearable, worse than anything I've ever felt. I only knew to scream, Jesus! So I did. My husband said as they rolled me to the helicopter, my hand went limp, and he thought at that moment he had lost me. The enemy tried to take my life, but God said no. I had to be lifelined 50 miles away via helicopter to the city of Indianapolis. That 15-minute emergency ride cost $53,000. I was diagnosed with a broken femur in 3 places and a broken sternum. They scheduled surgery for my broken femur for later that evening. It wasn't until my husband demanded an x-ray on my other leg that they determined it was broken too. I had one surgery that night and the other surgery 2 days later. After the second surgery, I almost died. My breathing was super shallow. My oxygen had plummeted, and they couldn't wake me up. I was so long in recovery, my husband had to ask 3 times if I was okay. They assured him that I was, but after a long time, they got my husband from the waiting room to see if he could talk to me and try to stimulate me. I was moved to trauma ICU for 5 days. I barely remember anything or anyone during this time, but God brought me through. The prayers of the saints reached heaven on my behalf. I spent 11 days in the hospital and was transferred to the hospital in my city, where I spent another 35 days. Deacon Ellison from my church built a wheelchair ramp in front of my house just so I could go home. I had to have home therapy from a chair. It was almost 3 months before I could even stand up, but God brought me out. My husband and sisters had to take care of me, as I could basically do nothing for myself. The women of the church had to sit with me daily. They brought food to feed Pastor and me for over 4 months. My husband's job was super demanding, but he took great care of me. He rose early to fix me breakfast and made sure I was tucked in at night in my rented hospital bed on the main level. I didn't get to sleep in the same bed with my husband for over 5 months. OMG, that was detrimental to me. Now, you may say that wasn't that long, or that you would have loved to have a break like that. Well, you may not like sleeping in the bed with your husband, but I'm a young 60 and I'm still trying to be all that and 6 bags of chips to my man. Y'all, God brought me through. He was with me all the time and had never left me. I'm up, I'm walking, I'm happy, and I praise God because I am healed. It's not about how I feel or how I still have to use my cane from day to day. I am still healed. I never once complained nor even asked God, why me? I just give God all the glory and honor for his goodness to me. It didn't have to be, but God. Ladies, learn to be there for others because you never know when you will need it. Stop being mad and shady with other ladies. You like them today, but are mad at them tomorrow. Time is so short. Go to their homes, cook them dinner, and show them love unconditionally because someone has to love you unconditionally. Be an encourager to those who you know need it and to those who you don't think need it. It's not for you to judge, it's for you to serve. You never know when it's going to be your turn. Now, I don't know what you are going through, but hang in there. Your sickness is not above God. It's not above his power. He is the ultimate healer. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then scoot. Keep the faith and never let go of God's unchanging hand. Sit back, keep the faith, and watch God change things in your life. I am still here. It's by the grace of God. What a miraculous testimony of God's goodness. God bless you and thank you for joining me today.